Our person of the year looks for the person or entity who has been the most ridiculous and has thereby contributed the most to satire across the year. And in at number 5, actually, it is in at fourth equal.
Ooh,
yeah,
fourth equal.
There's a tie for fourth. So the first one we're going to cover is UKIP, who won 5.77% of the vote.
Well, I mean, there have been lots of great moments to choose from, haven't there, guys? Does everyone remember the whole boat thing going down the Thames? When, where essentially Nigel Farage and some fishermen just took a flotilla up the Thames and were intercepted by Bob Geldof.
When you say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous.
It does sound.
Yeah, at the time it looked amazingly all right.
Yeah, and then the fishermen turned the hoses on Geldof. It was great. The best part was when the fisherman shouted, "You're so London," at Bob Geldof, and he was just like, "I'm Irish, guys. Come on."
Have you heard about John Rhys Evans? Does anybody know who John Rhys Evans is?
Nope.
Oh, he has made a real impact.
Now, he was the person who came third in the second leadership election.
Yes.
Yeah,
So he was
he's
the donkey
most
man.
famous for accusing a gay donkey of sexually assaulting his horse. This came up in a policy discussion, by the way.
What is the UKIP policy on gay donkeys?
They're very bad for the weather. So he is an entrepreneur with a background in mountaineering who is building a secure compound in Bulgaria. He has denied this and says it's an exaggeration. It's simply a holiday home, except with 8-foot-high walls and a watchtower. Now, perhaps it was whilst he was furnishing the holiday home that he once carried a Uzi into a Bulgarian branch of IKEA, just in case it was attacked by terrorists. And speaking of lunatics who need armed guards when they travel abroad, Boris Johnson was the other person who came fourth equal. It's fair to say Boris performed poorly in this poll, but credit where credit's due. At least he made it on the ballot this time.
Well, essentially, the thing about Boris is that he doesn't know what happens at the end of his sentences. So he starts talking, and then it's just a long journey to see where we're going to get to at the end. But as he gets more power, that's more and more worrying, because you don't know what he's going to say at the end of it.
It's a matter of time before he starts a fairly innocuous sentence that ends with the word war.
Your favourite moment this year, Ben, from Boris?
Well, I think for favourite moments, you've got to be the moment where he said he wasn't running for leadership. So the press conference, where I assume Michael Gove was standing at the back, just rubbing his hands.
It's convenient that you mention Michael Gove because for the second time this year, he's beaten Boris, but has only finished third overall.
Yeah, he's got a small childcare issue, or he had one recently. Essentially, he went to a nice big swanky hotel with his 11-year-old child, and he left that 7-year-old, that 12, how old? Young child. He left him in the hotel room while he went to a swanky party with Dom Jolly and Armando Iannucci, who said that he was throwing shapes.
Most of them are regular.
What, like a rhombus?
Michael Gove, I'm going to say, we do have one thing to thank Michael Gove for. We should be very grateful for this. If Michael Gove hadn't intervened, we would now be facing Prime Minister Boris Johnson and President Donald Trump. So he's done a small service to us all, I think.
I think we can all agree that we'd rather a big Johnson than a big Trump. Thank you.
Quickly moving on to second place. In second place was all pollsters. All of them. In particular, we're going to cite one. It's a man called Joe Twyman, who you've probably seen, because he's the man who turns up the day before the election and tells you how it's going to go. And then this is the guy who turns up 2 days after the election and explains why it didn't go quite as he imagined it was going to. So it's not just over here that it went badly wrong. Obviously in America, they got that quite markedly wrong. 2 of the major polling companies gave Trump a 1% chance the night before. And a man called Nate Silver was a bit more generous and said, he's got a 32% chance. Everyone's going, you're a lunatic, you're a madman. So we should move on to the winner. And if you've been, the pollsters got 25% of the vote. So if you've done the maths, the winner with 51.92% of the public vote is Donald Trump. I should say that last night I noticed that there was a late flurry of votes for the Donald, which pushed him over the 50% mark. So I can only assume this poll was hacked by the Russians. One thing Trump knows better than anyone else is that winning the most votes doesn't necessarily guarantee you victory. So what we're going to do here is we have our top two, the pollsters and Donald Trump, and our audience is going to select the final winner. Yes, folks, it's totally rigged, like Bigley, believe me. So what we're going to do is there's going to be a pitch from Ben on behalf of Donald Trump, and there's going to be a pitch from Tristan on behalf of the pollsters. So, Ben, take it away.
Well, I think to pitch for Donald, the only person who can really pitch for Donald the best is the Donald. So, once again, I'm going to channel him.
Look here, folks. I don't need this award, which is totally overrated, by the way. Believe me, totally overrated. But you elected me once last year, and now I'm going for my second term. And you'll know I'll do a terrific job. I make the best gaffes. I have tremendous gaffes, the best gaffes. And you can't trust the pollsters, folks. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're riggers, and some, I believe, can use a calculator. And satire needs me, folks. Have you seen Saturday Night Live recently? I'm essential to them, even though they're very biased, totally overrated, by the way. Sad. So in conclusion, vote me, Bigley, great again, China!
A strong, if not massively coherent argument.
Like every one of Donald Trump's arguments.
That's more coherent than most of his, I'd say. But Tristan, counter that.
Oh, well, how can I? Donald Trump's obviously done the most for satire, but I put it to you, who put Donald Trump in that position? It was the pollsters. Everyone believed that he was going to lose, and so no one went out and voted for him. And it's not just in America. It's in here too, in England as well, literally in this room. It's not just in America. It's with Brexit as well. Because, well, if the pollsters hadn't predicted that Remain was going to win so comfortably, then maybe people like me would have gone out and voted.
So those are the final arguments. Right, here comes the thrilling bit of radio where a man counts hands in the air. So can you put your hands up if you were going to vote for Donald Trump? Oh, it's not as decisive as I thought it was going to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12. Oh, see, it does look like you're doing Hitler salutes. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
I think he swung it.
Possibly. Who's voting for the pollsters?
Ooh, it's
1,
tight.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Oh, Donald wins!
Oh, by 1 vote! It's always by such thin margins! All right. Well, congratulations, Donald Trump. We'll be tweeting you with your success. And in the meanwhile, that is everything for North by North Westminster in 2016. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you in the new year. Happy New Year and goodbye!